Hey, Lake listeners. Thank you for coming back for more of the Grow, Thrive, Inspire podcast. Today, we are excited to have another community spotlight episode highlighting a business whose motto is to manage risks of everyday life while helping people recover from the unexpected and realize their dreams. And here to talk about it is one of their awesome agents and leaders, better than Jake, but Mr. Marcus Sykora with State Farm. Marcus, thanks so much for being here. I'm super excited to talk about you and State Farm. By the way, how's the bass fishing going?
Thank you, Kaylen, so much for allowing me to be here. It's truly an honor, and yeah, I love bass fishing, so we can talk about that for sure. But no, great to be here.
That's awesome. So, Marcus, I just kind of wanted to start with you just telling us about yourself and kind of where you found the passion to do what you do.
You know, I guess about myself. So I'm originally from Waynesville, born and raised there in Fort Leonard Wood. So kind of a hometown kid from the standpoint of even in high school, my first job was waiting tables and stuff like that here at the lake. So ever since we have our driver's license, we've been coming to Lake of the Ozarks and of course with fishing and everything like that as well. Make a long story short, I married my high school sweetheart, Andrea, and we have a 12-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. She's all girl, he's all boy.
Aww.
So between school sports and community events, we stay super busy. And really, to be honest with you, it's my passion for what I do. It was one of those things. I graduated from college, and I was just fortunate enough to have some guidance from one of my professors. Said, I want you to go talk to my State Farm agent, and I guess the rest is history. So it's kind of a neat story.
Yeah, that is super cool. I love that you married your high school sweetheart. Not many people get that that blessing in life, so that's really cool.
Yeah, it's made life a lot easier.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Your kids sound like they're doing all the right things and in sports, so that's really neat. Can you tell us more just about State Farm and why you love it?
Yeah, so State Farm, I guess the nuts and bolts of State Farm is, they're the largest insurance company in North America, so they have a 25% market share. So what I always tell people is 1 out of every 4 cars you pass or 1 out of every 4 houses you drive by is State Farm insured. So very, very large company. It's a mutual company, so we don't have to answer to stockholders, which is nice when you have fluctuations in the market and turmoil and things like that. And really what I love about State Farm is first of all, I personally love being on that front line to interact with all of the people. Mm-hmm. I love people in general. I love being able to help people. I love people trying to do whatever I can to get people to trust us. And from that standpoint, that's something that we're very, very passionate about. And I also love from the standpoint of State Farm that from the adjusters to the claim reps to the underwriters, it's all under one caveat of State Farm. They're all State Farm employees.
Oh, wow.
So you get a lot of consistency. You get a lot of people who are really, really trying to do whatever they can to help people. I started in claims right out of college, handling cars for claims and homes and things like that. And I'll never forget my manager in the early phases of our training. They always mentioned, do whatever you can to help the customer. If there's gray area, find a way to make it beneficial for the customer. And I still believe that's the way we do business today. And I think that a lot of other companies don't do it that way. So we always are the advocate for the consumer.
Well, that's really neat. And I would agree with that. I feel like some of the other competition probably doesn't go that route. So that is really neat.
Yes, no doubt.
And great that you put the consumer first and their needs. Let's dive a little bit deeper, though. How has insurance been this year with, all that we've gone through?
What's interesting is, Lake of the Ozarks is full of a lot of retired folks. It's full of a lot of business owners, and a lot of service industry folks as well. And in March, I can remember everyone having a big fear of kind of where do we go from here, right? I mean, the sky is falling. We may or may not be able to stay in business. We've played the cards the best we have for this family business for our entire lives over multiple generations. Mm-hmm. Will we be able to open again? To here we are now, coming up close to October, and having record-breaking years because we've been open for business. So the beautiful thing about personally my side of the business is, we do so much business over the phone and over the internet. We were all able to work virtually. We were all able to social distance. We were all able to really spend a lot of core time with our family and yet still conduct business. State Farm had a lot of, I guess, basically delays in billings and some COVID relief actions that took place to really help the consumer to get through the uncertainty in the very beginning.
That's
And
fantastic.
yeah, it was really a neat thing for them to step up and do the right thing for the consumer. And here we are, you know, once again having another record year. We've written, I don't know, so much more business this year from people that are coming from all over the country, once they've realized kind of what Lake of the Ozarks is about and what our people and our economy is about here. So it's been a true blessing from the business side of things. We're absolutely rocking and rolling, and it's because of Lake of the Ozarks.
Well, that's great. And I know that it is a fortunate thing to be able to, like you said, conduct business at home and be able to provide not only for your family during that time, but then also for the consumer. And not a lot of people, I think, had that luxury. So it's really great from a company standpoint that you were able to have that time and still be able to work. And I know that we in our industry, we had that happen as well. And it was a blessing to be able to have that happen.
Absolutely.
So, what kind of services are you currently offering?
So we have, somewhere around 100 different products and services that we offer under the State Farm blanket. We have, your what I would call standard coverage policies. So we have auto, we have boat, we have home, condo, renters, rental property, commercial business, a full line of life insurance, investment products, and mutual fund investing from that side of things. We really kind of have the availability to be that one-stop shop. And that's really, really unique to our business. And it's great because there's always something, like, for instance, my employees. I have several amazing employees. And what happens is, in the insurance world, maybe not everybody is really passionate about auto insurance. Maybe somebody wants to be more passionate about life insurance. Maybe somebody's not passionate about home insurance. Maybe the moral of the story is, because of all of the blanket of products and services we offer, I can diversify my team to create specialists within my team. So if you have, you are a contractor, for instance, and you have employees and you need help on commercial insurance, I have an opportunity to help you there with somebody who can really specialize in that product. If you are a second homeowner and are looking for things that are unique to Lake of the Ozarks, I have people that are able to do that. If you just want white glove, top shelf service, I have a group of employees that's their only purpose when they come to that office. They're not in the sales role. They are in a situation where they love helping people and resolving problems. So there's a lot of different things we can do. And the way I describe it is, if the word insurance is anywhere in a descriptor, right, then there's a better than average chance that we have something that we'd love the opportunity to help you with.
Well, that's really neat. I love that you also help lead your team to be in those specific roles to then be more expert, like, within that specific role. That's really powerful. And with over 20 years in the industry yourself, do you consider yourself to have like a specialty or a niche of anything?
I'd say, through the evolution of business, I'd say I feel pretty good about most all of the arrows, for instance, that I have in my quiver. But I really, really love engaging and growing relationships with customers and kind of sticking to that motto of helping them realize their dreams, recover from the unexpected. For instance, if you had a house fire, a house fire sounds devastating, but to actually go through it is an unbelievable upside down in your world.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I love showing up with a checkbook and comforting people, explaining the process. I'm not the claims department, but I can help those people get to where they want to be. So being there from the major claim side of things, having higher level conversations about money or protecting income, or just making sure that you have what you think you have. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that I really, really love to engage in, just having that deeper relationship with that client and being the one that they trust.
Well, and I'm glad that you said that too, because you had mentioned in some of our conversations personally that you focus on protecting income. Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so that's, the one thing about the insurance world, I think, that a lot of the other carriers have done is they've done a great job of turning it into a commodity. Mm-hmm. I mean, people, when you think about your insurance, it's typically behind your mortgage, maybe even more than your car payments, but it's somewhere in the top 3 payments that you make on a monthly basis, typically. So it's a very, very costly thing when you start looking at inflow versus outflow. And so when you start talking about protecting your income, what I try to have people understand is, insurance is a contract. And if you don't have the right endorsements, if you don't have the right type of coverages, if you don't have what you need in the event something were to happen, you're not going to have the coverage extended to you. And so what I always talk to people about is the real core of protecting your income, especially in a market area like this, the foundation of that is making sure you have the right liability coverages. The question I ask consumers all the time is, if you had your worst day behind the wheel of a boat, behind the wheel of your car, if you were to be sued, if you had your worst day, how much would you want to pay for out of pocket, and how much would you want the insurance company to pay? Well, naturally, everybody wants the insurance company to pay for everything.
Right.
Well, what you're telling me and what your coverage reflects are often two different things. So let's make sure the coverage is right so we can make all of those payments that you expect us to make. And the other follow-up part of that to this is, I understand it's relative to price. So if you need more premium dollars to get the coverages you want, what I try to get people to understand is I'd rather pay an extra $10 a month to not have to pay tens of $1,000s later on if something, heaven forbid, would happen.
Right, and that's a valid point that even myself, and I kind of include my generation in that, we don't, I don't think that we know a lot about that particular side of things. So being able to go through that fine print and narrow down with all of those explanations and definitions and get that clear picture, I think is really solid advice and the way to do it these days, because people have a hard time educating themselves, I think, sometimes when it comes to insurance and all of those big words and the financial side. So that's really impactful.
And there's nothing exciting about insurance, let's be honest, right? Next to maybe like my dentist, which no disrespect to my dentist because he's a fantastic dentist, but it's like, nobody really wants to talk about insurance, right?
I can remember a point in my life where I had thought about going into insurance, and even studying the material was a pretty dry read, so.
It's terms and conditions, and it's contract language, and it's kind of square peg through square hole. But really, that's where I think, my team really separates themselves from a lot of other teams and a lot of other businesses and a lot of other companies, is we are your advocate. We will ask the questions, call my office and try to get a proposal. It's the questions we ask are a lot different, I would hope, or I would expect, than what you asked before, because I think the rest of the insurance world tries to do whatever they can to make it the least amount of premium dollars for you in hopes that you would come to them because they're $10 a month less. I want to save you money. I absolutely do. And we're competitively priced. We have several rate decreases. We're competitively priced right now, so we are saving people a bunch of money. The interesting thing about it is we're also giving them the coverages that they need or that they want or should have for the same thing. Those are the things I think that probably separate us more than anything. And protecting your income, because if your income doesn't come in because you've lost it due to litigation, or you've lost it because now all of a sudden you have to make different payments and things like that, that's a big deal. The other piece of that is life insurance and disability coverage. Life insurance and disability coverage are two of probably the most feared, most nobody wants to talk about. Or people will say, well, I have a life insurance policy that I bought 20 years ago, and they check the box and they think, I have life insurance, so let's call it good. Well, maybe it's a single mother. Maybe it's a one-income family like what mine is. Maybe it's a situation where their income is so unbelievably important. And what I ask spouses all the time is, to your spouse is your income. Do they rely on your income? Of course they do. Well, what happens if you, heaven forbid, don't come home? Because remember, that claim is inevitable, right? Absolutely. Nobody has ever survived living, right? That's just the way it works. So that and the disability piece, do you have enough money saved up? If you don't, why don't you let State Farm make those payments for you so you can stay in your home, so you can keep driving the car you drive, so your family can live the lifestyle that they're living? Those things like that we're extremely passionate about. We're not pushy. We're not in your face about any of it, but we do ask the questions. And if you've never really sat down with a true, what I would call literally a risk advisor, you need to sit down and do that. And we'd love to be the ones you would consider doing that for you.
Yeah, I love that advice. I know personally, as a single mother, I probably have 4 or 5 different life policies, myself, and I have taken the time to sit down and try to factor in all of them because they're all with different things, and it can be a lot, especially for, like you said, a single mom. So that's really cool. I love that.
Sure.
Within your industry right now, what are you seeing a lot of within our market or the lake in general?
We're seeing a ton of real estate, right? I mean, a lot of real estate transactions, a lot of watercraft transactions, a lot of people who have decided to live here full time. Because if you're going to self quarantine, why not do it on this beautiful 55,000 acre impoundment, right?
With the lake in the backyard, yeah.
There's something healing about the glistening of sun on the water,
So true.
So it's one of those things where our transactions are way up. We're kind of unique in the standpoint of, my office is in Osage Beach, but with State Farm, we have the availability to write insurance on all of the states that surround the state of Missouri as well. So if you're in Illinois, you come down here, you buy a second home, and we do a great job for you. And then we start asking you the questions that you've never been asked before, and then the light bulb goes off. We can be the ones that trust you for your Illinois stuff and your Missouri stuff as well. So we're kind of unique in that standpoint. We really kind of spread out more than just the lake area. But the real estate side of things, is hopping. The boat side of things is hopping. A lot's going on right now at Lake of the Ozarks.
That I know, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down either, which is exciting. It's a good thing.
It's wide open still.
Yeah, and for our listeners right now who may be interested in your services that are listening to us, how would you recommend that they do reach out?
Yeah, so I'm a pretty easy guy to find, right? I mean, but the moral of the story is you can go my website, Marcus Sykora. It's Sykora. You go marcussykora.com, call my office. You can walk in, call in, click in, whatever you need to do, text into my office. We make it pretty easy to do business the way that you want to do business.
Great.
And then obviously we're located here in the Landmark building right here in Osage Beach. Happy to be here and love being your neighbors. So pretty easy to find.
That's awesome. Is there any advice that you would give to clients or maybe even potential clients that are thinking about insuring a home at the lake?
Yeah, so Lake of the Ozarks is every market area is unique, right? In what Lake of the Ozarks, the first thing that comes up is, once again, that protecting your income, right? How much liability coverage do we have? Medical coverage, right? We have a lot of guests coming over. We had a lot of neighbors coming over. If, heaven forbid, they were to slip and fall, can we provide coverage for that without stepping into a liability lawsuit or something like that? Docks are a big deal. Do you have the right endorsements on your docks and all of your detached structure coverages and things along those lines? And then boats obviously come with that as well. So you got to make sure that you got a right amount of boat coverage, medical coverage on the boats, and so on and so forth like that. So all of these things that go on at Lake of the Ozarks, we're a unique market, right? Boats don't have brakes on them, right? Stairs are slippery, right? Docks collapse, wind blow the dock off, your hoists. On a condo project, is your hoist properly covered? All those different things that are unique, we walk the client through all of those processes and steps to take in consideration because, once again, in the event you have your worst day, how much do you want to pay for out of pocket and how much do you want me to pay for? So those are the things we look at.
Well, that's awesome. And I think that, with people who aren't originally from here, who are moving here and getting into their first lakefront home or vacation spot, I know personally it's a lot to take in sometimes. I wouldn't have known about all of the aspects of a dock, for example, or things. So having somebody that's that expert is definitely helpful. Switching gears, though, is there any advice that you would give to our real estate agents here at the lake to help kind of service their clients better?
Well, I think, only thing I can speak of is obviously on the side of the insurance piece. There's been a lot of things that have changed in the insurance world, and there's a lot of things that kind of happen from the home inspection process and things like that. Moral of the story is, I guess there's so many unique instances that there's not really one thing. I mean, I'm grateful for the real estate agents here at the lake. I'm grateful for the job they do. We have a tremendous referral system built in with those folks. They trust us, right? And we trust them. And so just as long as you know that if there's something unique that's coming along or if you're seeing something, communication is always the best thing, right?
Right.
Give our office a call. Hey, by the way, I'm seeing this. What do you think? Or, hey, how would you handle this scenario? Just an open line communication. We would love to be as used as often as we can to create that better experience for not only real estate agent but also the consumer to make it a little bit more streamlined. So
Well, and
anything we
also
can do.
the education aspect of being able to get answers, is awesome. Being able to share that information and provide advice to our local agents here, that's impactful.
Yeah, we want to be able to be as resourceful as we can for you guys. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, I got a couple more fun questions for you.
Great.
So, what would you say is your most favorite part of your job?
Wow, that's interesting. I just making a difference, right? I mean, that's a thing that I think about all the time. I mean, everybody goes through the mundane, 9 to 5, whatever it is. But for instance, I mean, one thing that I'm so proud of this. Real quick story. I've cried tears of joy 3 times in my life. The birth of my daughter, the birth of my son, and I was able to pay a life insurance claim to a man who was still alive. I mean, being there when people need you is something that you can't really understand until you've actually gone through it.
Absolutely.
And I see it all the time, and I see the light bulb go off in clients' heads when they're like, "Oh, thank God we did that," or "Man, I knew there's a reason we're here," or you and your team have been so special. So just the intrinsic reward of trying to help people. I think that's something that, the old adage, money can't buy, right? So
Yeah.
that's probably my favorite thing, is being there for people when they need me.
I love that. Okay, last question. It's kind of a three-parter, but I
Okay.
love to get different answers to
Okay.
these questions. So, first one, where is an area of your life or your business where you would like to grow?
Wow. Growth is welcome in all areas, right? I mean,
Right.
we love to grow. You know, I think probably where I see the next level of growth in my agency is probably expansion. With State Farm, our contractual assignment, you can't have multiple offices and things like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
but that thing is they're starting to change that.
Well, that's good.
And I would love to have, multiple offices around the lake, or I'd love to have multiple offices around this particular section of the state, because I really love seeing the employees that we have really grow and nurture and learn and expand. So just the expansion piece overall in all areas, from a developmental side of my employees and also from the actual storefronts as well.
That's neat, and that just shows that you're an amazing leader. I hear that all the time from your staff and stuff, but I love that you take that into account, wanting to not only grow your own personal business but grow everybody within that. So, what area, personal or business, are you thriving in right now?
I I don't know that there's a lot. I would say that I am very, very lucky, because I think about what winning looks like all the time. And I'm very, very blessed from the standpoint I feel like I'm winning in every aspect. Whether that's true or false from the outside opinion, who knows? But we're building a brand new dream home right now.
Cool.
So that's super exciting, just to see that process go through and to see it all evolve. My family, I know COVID was very, very devastating to a lot of businesses and to a lot of people. But to us and a lot of other people too, that was some of the best family time we have ever got to spend together.
I know it was for me as well, so I
It
get
was
that.
unbelievable, the time that we got to spend together. And then from the business side of things, we're continually growing, and we're continually expanding, and everything's firing on all cylinders. No,
Yeah, that's great.
no, you may walk in tomorrow and there may be a tornado. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it all starts falling apart at the seams, right? Because great things don't stay great very often. But really, to be honest with you, I count my blessings every single day. And when I think about what winning looks like in my own personal lives, I'm very, very blessed to think that it's going on right now in all aspects.
That's great. All right, last one. It's kind of a deep one.
Uh-oh.
But what inspires you?
Wow. I think what inspires me, probably more than anything, and this is really, really deep. So you kind of got me on this one. My biggest inspiration is seeing my life through the eyes of my children. Like growing up, going on a float trip on the Gasconade River, and taking my son on that same float trip, and just, really seeing it through his eyes, or my daughter, really encouraging her and being warmer in her sails. She was a danceaholic and has now switched over to volleyball, and really talking her through the coaching process, and my wife, just doing everything I can to serve her. My inspiration and everything I do comes from serving others, and that is what makes it feel good, right? That's that feel good piece. I can't believe I get to live at Lake of the Ozarks. I can't believe how I get to create revenue at Lake of the Ozarks, help people at Lake of the Ozarks. I drive across that Grand Glazed Bridge every single day on the way to work, and I see that water, and I don't care if it's raining, storming, snowing, sunny outside, and I just think about how unbelievably blessed I am to be here. So I do everything I can for others right now. That's what's inspiring me.
I love that answer. I know that I personally had an experience like that this past year. I got to take my kids for the first time to the ocean, and that was something that I always personally wanted for me, to have that memory of them little, on the beach and stuff, and to see their faces, see it for the first time was something I'll never forget. So I think that's great. Well, Grow, Thrive, Inspire listeners, as always, we could not be more thankful to Marcus for bringing State Farm's information and his experience with insurance here and sharing it with us. We have more episodes coming, so be sure to tune back in on Wednesdays and like and subscribe to our pages, or share us with those who love the lake area as much as you do. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes, or go to the GrowThriveInspirePodcast.com website. Be sure to also check out our open houses coming up. Open houses are posted on Thursdays for the upcoming weekend on our Facebook page. You can check out the beautiful fall colors this time of year and fall for your next home or vacation spot. And remember to always grow, thrive, and inspire. We'll see you soon.